Hello, hello, hello. Christina Shear here from the Mast Cell 360 team. We are delighted to have you joining us today from, quite frankly, all over the globe. We love our local and our international audience. So as you're coming in and joining this live stream, it would just delight us if you could share with us where in the world you are, what state, what country. Maybe let us know what's the weather like where you're at. I know that sounds kind of silly and funny, but if you were a part of our Earth Day photo challenge last week, you know how much fun we have when we're talking about nature and getting outside to enjoy, whether it be, forest bathing or resonant breathing, or just taking a chance to be at peace and be at calm and just rest and enjoy our lives. So awesome. Well, we're delighted to have y'all. I see people coming in on Facebook as well as on YouTube today. So thanks as always for joining us, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have over 1,000 subscribers now, and we are looking forward to releasing more and more exclusive content right there on YouTube. So if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, I'm sure Cam will post it below, but our handle is at MastCell360, and we look forward to seeing you there. Awesome. Welcome, Matt from Tucson. I'm sure it's hot already. I'm here in Nashville today. Our team's all over the country. We've got rain, we've got sunshine, we got a little bit of everything. Well, let's get into it. As always, this is a Mast Cell 360 production and live recording. And so we just want to remind you that just our general disclaimers, right? So we are not physicians. We always want to remind you to go ahead and follow up directly with your doctors if you have any questions. And remember that these are just our recommendations and thoughts today. Nothing official, right? And we do occasionally mention different products and services that we enjoy and utilize at the clinic, as well as personally here as the team at Mast Cell 360. We do often receive some sort of a small affiliate commission based on those recommendations. So we just like to be upfront about that. And as Beth always says, we're just putting it out there as a resource for you to consider. No pressure. If it's not for you, that's okay. But we just want you to know that it's available. Awesome. And I do see Shayna actually asked a really great question. I'm going to just go ahead and answer this real quick live. So that's so great. So Shayna, we are doing Mold May here this month. We're going to be kicking this off today with our very own Functional Mast Cell Coach, Kimberley Quirk, and she is amazing, and you've gotten a chance to meet her and hear her voice a little bit more this past month, but she's going to be joining us twice this month. We're also going to have one of our favorites, Dr. Neil Nathan, joining us next Monday. And then Beth is currently, as some of you might have heard last week, Beth is currently on a sabbatical, so she may pop in here and there, but for right now we're going to be having friends and family and those that are involved as the Mast Cell 360 community be more involved here on our live broadcast. So I hope that answers that for you, Shayna. I know there's literally hundreds of hours of Beth content, so now's a good time to catch up if you have been missing Beth. I know we are as well here on the live stream, but we're grateful to also be able to just be a voice and be a resource. I know I'm a newbie to this space in the sense that I'm learning more and more about my own health, my own nervous system, my own impact of histamine intolerance and mental health, physical health, all the things that come along with this. So I love being able to be in the trenches with you all learning. So know that a lot of these great questions that you are asking are also things that I'm asking too behind the scenes. So with that being said, let's bring up an expert today. Let's bring Kimberley Quirk up to the stage, our functional mast cell coach here at Mast Cell 360. She works on the clinic team. And Kimberley, I think it would be great if you could just kick us off by just sharing a little bit about your personal health journey and what led you to actually specializing in what is now what we like to refer to as health coaching or mast cell coaching.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. Yeah, I like to say it's been a long, strange trip. So my journey was a decade long. Took me a while to get to the root of it, which the big root of it for me was mold. But it started back in 2012, just symptoms coming up, the symptoms that I could no longer ignore, right? And they're like POTS kind of symptoms, kind of passing out, dizzy, those kinds of things, hormonal symptoms showing up, those kinds of things, and kind of going down, we knew I had Hashimoto, so kind of going down the autoimmune track, trying to figure out why is my body suddenly acting like this. So it took a while to find it. 2017, we found Lyme and they diagnosed POTS as well. So was positive with Lyme. So was in the Lyme world for a little bit, but was finding that anything I was trying to kill microbes, that kind of thing, was really setting me off. All kinds of flares and things like that. So I kept going, right? Kept going, what's kind of going on? Stop what's flaring me, see what happens. In hindsight's 2020, right? I moved from one kind of mold. I was in black mold where I had chronic fatigue and immunosuppression. And I moved, I divorced, downsized, and ended up moving into a different kind of mold that was more, I was allergic to. I have an allergy to penicillin. It was penicillin that was here. So my allergy came out full blown, was covered in hives head to toe the first 3 years that I was working with Beth. And it was hard to find the mold environmentally. But once I did, really that was like pulling off 10 layers of that onion of healing, and just got a lot better. I mean, I went from sleeping like a koala, like 18 hours a day when I was in black mold, pretty miserable, immunosuppression, chronic sinus infections, to in 2022, I ran a 5K once I got out of the mold. Reversed almost every diagnosis they give me, got off every single med, except for thyroid hormone. So yeah, that was there's a lot. And I would say the journey's still going on. I'm still detoxing, I still can flare. I'm just super conscious of my lifestyle and keeping it clean, keeping myself moving forward, keeping myself really conscious of air quality, water quality, food quality, sleep quality, those kinds of things. Just trying to keep detoxing. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize you went from one type of mold to another type of mold. Maybe that's just
not knowing. I didn't know I was in mold.
Right. So like, that's just wild to think, again, environmental mold is just a whole other thing that I am just learning about. And I know we're going to learn so much more together this month, like for sure, about environmental mold, and being able to actually understand how much that impacts you, even if it's not like, we talk about this internally all the time, even if it's not something that you're in like today, like right now, like the room that I'm sitting in may not be moldy, but maybe I worked in an office for a period of time and had mold exposure, and I didn't even think about that. As I lived abroad for a season, and I lived right next to the ocean. And in hindsight, I was probably exposed to quite a bit of mold that might have attributed to some of the health challenges that I've encountered. But I would have never in a million years thought to ask those questions to my doctor or to my coach.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it can live with us, so we can be out of it, and we still need to detox the mycotoxins, which store in our fat and our organs. So it's important. Those can stay for decades. And you don't want that. Then you also want to deal with the colonization piece and the sinuses and the gut. Because if you don't, you have mold living inside you. And so you're bringing it with you wherever you go. And then there's the nervous system piece, right? Which the nervous system was there to try to protect us and kind of gives us the symptoms of what's going on. And if we're not, dealing with that nervous system dysregulation, that's staying with us as well. So
absolutely
it's important to deal with. Yeah.
Well, I know there's a lot of people that obviously, we have just this ever-growing community all over the place. And I know you've seen hundreds of individuals through the clinic that are these complex, chronic illnesses, autoimmune conditions. They've got the overlap of a lot of the same health conditions that you have gone through. And so I'm curious, actually, what led you to go from like walking through this process with recovery with really Beth kind of at the helm of your process, right? And learning. And then, you're like, okay, I've got mold, Lyme, MCAS, Hashimoto's, POTS, and all this other stuff going on. So how did that actually shape your experience to then become a coach and now helping others?
So I actually started at Duke back in 2014 with the health coaching, just because I knew I wanted to dive more. I thought it would help me on my journey as well, and it did. The mindfulness piece, the health piece. So I was learning sort of all along, and that kind of kept me going, right? Gave me purpose, right? Purpose is important to kind of keep us in the why, and the pain and the purpose kind of related, kind of like, so I can help others, right? And help others on this journey, because it was hard and it took way too long to find that. I will tell anyone with like a chronic Lyme diagnosis, if you've done some of the treatments and you're really reactive or you're not getting better, look for mold. You don't miss it, because it's the immunosuppression. Like, it's hard to overcome that chronic infection, any kind of chronic infection, like chronic SIBO, chronic Epstein-Barr. All those things are almost impossible to overcome with that mold toxicity piece. But when you remove the mold, and I saw a really good analogy for this recently, it's almost like a swamp. Like, if you don't take that swamp out, all those things kind of are going to survive in there and kind of hide away. And you want to kind of clean the terrain so that you can, or the tank that you're in, right? Clean your tank, so that you can, start anew and be healthier and not have these things kind of holding you back. Otherwise, it's like pushing a boulder uphill.
Yeah, that's a really great analogy, especially for those that are here that are maybe feeling, hopeless, or gosh, I do feel like I'm just pushing that boulder up the hill.
Yeah.
Why am I not getting breakthrough? Gosh, Beth has shared so many times her story of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that she's invested in seeking wisdom, help, remediation services, even most recently, like with her home, like there was another leak and she had to go through the process again, and a different type of toxin. And yeah. There's just such a complexity to this topic. And so I love that, like, your training started really even before you even probably got some breakthrough in your physical health, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It
That's
helped
awesome.
like support the mental side, right? And helped keep me going, and helped keep that hope there, because you want to keep that hope.
That's great.
And that drive.
I'm curious, of those that are joining us either live or on the replay, I'd love if you would comment below if you have found yourself in the process of, trying to research your mystery symptoms on our blog, on our website, on other, there's so many other great teachers in this space as well. And you've found yourself learning so much, but then having a conversation with a friend or a loved one about their health, and you're noticing that passion stir up inside you to become a coach, or to become, maybe in this health profession. We've had this conversation, Cam, who you guys see in our comments, like, she's had to learn so much in her own season of her own life and family and health journey. And it's been amazing to see how that might not have been something she would have done before, and she's done that. So I'd be curious how many other people have found that in the process of trying to seek answers and wisdom for their own physical healing, they have found a new exciting passion for health and wellness. So I'm going to leave that there. The comments take a minute to come in. So while they're responding, I want
to add to that.
Yeah.
Just my best practitioners, Beth, but I've also met other functional medicine practitioners who have helped me move forward, or even conventional, who have had their own health struggles, have been the ones that listen and that help you move forward. Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? There's such empathy that's there. So I love that. That's a perfect segue to the other question I wanted to ask you, which is, like, in working with Beth, both as a patient, right, as well as now at the clinic, like, what insights have you gained from working with Beth OHara?
How do I summarize that? A lot. A lot.
Right? Do we have hours?
I wouldn't have known about the mold. I was starting to get to it, and then also how to detox the mold. So the real conundrum for people with mast cell, once you uncover that you have mold and maybe you're out of it environmentally, how do you heal, right? How do I detox this? How do I deal with these infections without causing the flare? Because we're reactive to everything. And a lot of the meds and things like that. So really, her blog, her Facebook lives helped me. Working with her one-on-one helped me for sure. Just open my eyes to what is my journey and what's kind of blocking me. Helping uncover all the stones, and then coming up with a plan for, things that are low histamine that I can take in a smaller way, being able to do sprinkles of things versus, onboarding things too much, because I had a tendency to I just want to get better. So I'll just take a bunch of this, right?
Right.
Which might have been a normal dose, right? But with mast cell, it put me in a huge flare, right? And then I had vertigo and I couldn't drive for weeks. And just trying to, it's just a totally different approach to detoxing mold for sure when you have mast cell.
That's great. I love that you've learned that from Beth on both sides. That's been a massive breakthrough. And it does seem to be that specifically with mast cell activation syndrome, if they're struggling with MCAS, that mold piece is so critical in getting from maybe that bedbound lifestyle or a very limited lifestyle with extreme fatigue to having a more vibrant life again, which we want everyone to experience. I mean, we truly do. That's why we're here. So, well,
and
I
was going to add, in the 200 or so cases that I've seen, not one has not had mold as a piece of it. Now, they might not be in it now, but it could have been past, right? So we can test that. But everybody, mold is at the heart of at least staying stuck in that mast cell. And doesn't mean you'll be healed from mast cell. If you got back into mold, it would probably come back. But you can live a much more vibrant life out of mold and detoxing the mold.
Wow. That's phenomenal, Kimberly. Thank you for sharing that. That's such a, I'm like, do we need to write a paper on this? Do we, you know what I mean?
And don't miss mold, right?
Right. Yeah. Don't miss the fact that mold could be a part of it. I love this comment that Corinne shared, that it took 25 years to figure out the mold piece in her story. So, she's actually been helping other people because of her own process. Yes. And I just, all right, Corinne. I mean, I love it. That's so true. And I mean, that's why, you guys have heard us talk about it before. We're passionate about, doing a practitioner training down the road. And that's something that Beth is passionate about, and a big part of this season that we're in right now as a company. And so being able to equip and empower other potential health coaches as well in that process is so key, because we're seeing just this uptick of individuals that need this specialized and yet very complex care. There's only one Kimberley that I know of so far. Yes. So
yes.
That we can help. We've got to get everybody healthy before they can help everyone else too, right? Yeah. We've got to work everybody through that. Well, I would love if you would share a little bit more about the method that Beth teaches, because I know that's really strategic to what you've learned and the process. I mean, you've literally walked through it directly and personally. So I know you know it inside and out, but it's called the MC360 Method. It's literally like a trademarked method that we use here at the clinic and with the team. And so even when you read our blog posts and you see our content and even our teachings, I want you to know that's what we're pulling from. We're actually pulling from this very, very specific piece of teaching that Beth has created. And so she obviously utilizes it, as well as you and Alex in the clinic, to work with those dealing with mold, with Lyme, and with MCAS. So could you just walk us through exactly what the method is?
Yeah, definitely. And this is what I think sets us apart a bit from any place else, because of the way she has it mapped out for people with mast cells. So I feel like it's a safer way to detox. So anybody I meet with, we do a roadmap appointment. So we're looking at that roadmap, and the first piece can be daunting. It's called the stabilization piece. So it's so important because, and I know coming out of the Lyme world, they would say, oh, just push through, right? Just push through and you'll, it's a herx. And I found that to not be true. I didn't get better because of the herx. It actually set me back further. So we're all about, let's get those mast cells and the nervous system stabilized so that we can do a gentle detox. And that's sort of how it's different. So we're looking at, and the list is long, all the possible things that could be keeping us destabilized. And I'll tell you that nervous system piece, I know we talk about it a lot, is at least 50% of of mast cell. For some people, I see it like 80, 90%. That mold, causes that nervous system dysregulation, but also so does the circumstances we find ourselves in when nobody understands what we're going through or there's no answers. That stress, that fear kind of keeps us stuck. So that stabilization piece is big. So we're kind of looking at that if people are, they're not able to onboard some gentle things, what are the ways we really get them stable? From the stabilization piece, we go into the gentle detox. So we're not throwing them on, multi-ingredient kinds of things. It's like simple, gentle binders, activated charcoal, a little bit of bentonite clay, like a sprinkle. So we're gently detoxing people, monitoring, making sure they're detoxing well. We're following up every 6 months with once they're on binders with those mycotoxin testing to make sure that things are trending the right way eventually. And sometimes they're not the best detoxes at first. So as they become better detoxers, it does go up a little before it drops. Then we start doing the, antifungal piece, which is gently with, not starting with, prescription antifungals, knowing who this person is, how sensitive they are, and gently supporting the detox, supporting the antifungal piece to deal with the sinus colonization, the gut colonization. And then we find that a lot of people, including myself, I didn't need Lyme treatment. My Lyme went away when I dealt with the mold because I got my immune system back from the mold. That's a huge learning for people. Some people still have infections hanging around and still need support. It is way easier to deal with your chronic infections, whether it be SIBO, Epstein-Barr, Bartonella, Babesia, Lyme, whatever it is, after you detox the mold. So then we deal with that there. It's so much simpler. Deal with heavy metal, deal with parasites, those kinds of things. And then we do the rebuild piece. Like, let's get to full-on gut health. Let's get to full-on optimization of our life and back to functioning how we were. Yeah. Or if not better.
That was so good. Can you just say that last piece again? Just say it one more time. Like
getting back to living.
Yes. Just one more time. I think
getting back to living. There's nothing like it. Yeah. Getting back to living. And I will tell you, in some ways, I'm living a lot healthier than I was before. Yeah, or doing more, or it seems more purposeful, right? That we're able to heal, and how can we, find more purpose in our life?
Yeah, that's for sure what it's all about. Those being able to celebrate those small moments. I know one of the individuals that entered for the chance to win the Earth Day giveaway, they had it was their first time back to I think it was the beach or traveling in 2 years because of their health journey. And so we love seeing your stories like that. I want y'all to know that when you post on social media, you send us an email, you send a messenger comment, we share all of that with our team. We celebrate your wins. We love hearing your stories about, hey, I finally found a new recipe that I love, thanks to what, a low histamine recipe I found on your website, or thank you so much for helping with this food list. Like, those kinds of things are, we're here to help, and we want to continue to be a resource because we understand, as Kimberly explained, that stabilization is where it all starts. And so if we can give you some of those tools and resources to start that process in your life, especially for those of you that need to depend on free resources and your own internal learnings right now, you're not able to maybe work with a clinician like ours, or we do work virtually. Just for context, I saw Shanna, I think is your name. Shanna asked if we work, doing online visits or telemed. And go ahead, you can actually answer, Kimberly. I think that might be.
Yeah. Everything's virtual. We only do US, and that's mostly because being able to get people the protocols and the testing and things like that, too hard across borders. We've tried that. And so, yeah, we need to focus on the US, but yeah, it's all virtual.
Yeah. And I think one of the benefits of working in our case with specifically US individuals, other than, we want to work with everyone in the world, but because one of the pros, if you will, of working within the US is we're very familiar with the environment here, right? We're very aware of like what could be hidden environmental triggers or some of those other things that are going on. So I'd love to ask you, Kimberly, when you're walking through this process and you're walking someone through the MC360 method, what are you doing when you're maybe meeting with someone for maybe not in the first session, but in a future session, and you're saying, okay, like, what are those questions or those aha moments that you have where you're like, oh, I'm identifying those hidden triggers. I'm, thinking through, is mold remediation part of that process this individual needs to go through to get breakthrough, or do they need detoxification? Just like, I'd love if we could for a moment, like step into that conversation of like what it would be like to sit across the table from you and be in a dialogue with a clinician that understands mold, that understands mast cell activation syndrome, and walk through that process of environmental triggers with you.
So it looks different in everybody. So the important thing is, who is this person and what are they being exposed to? What kind of work are they doing? What is their house like? What is their family like? How are they eating? Like, just the lifestyle, looking at the whole lifestyle of the person and their exposures. And I do like to say, and this isn't mine, this is Jill Krista's, I should say, is clean air, clean water, clean food, in that order. We breathe 20,000 times a day. That's a lot of exposure of something we don't see. And so if you have mold, and even if it's hidden, it can be in the air and be affecting you and add up over time. So that's a lot of exposure.
Okay, say that again, because I want Cam to catch it and be able to put it in the chat. Okay. So the 3 priorities that Dr. Jill Krista recommends are, go ahead.
Clean air, clean water, clean food. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't have all clean, but like in terms of level of exposure, because toxicity is all levels of exposure. So then when I'm meeting with someone face to face, it's kind of like, are they home all day? Are they, do they have a job that they have had or are currently being exposed to chemicals and things like that? So we take a look at that for sure.
I just this week, I was speaking with someone that I think I mentioned who I work with, and like the aspect of, that we deal with those with like hives and all these different triggers. And she shared that they recently had some construction. And so I guess there's an issue with lead in the pipes in their house, and the water, even though they've done all the official mechanical things, the plumbing components, there's still residue in the piping system. And so her skin is breaking out with hives from what is in the water. And so I love that she could even like attribute it, to know that that's what that was, to be able to kind of counteract it. And we were just having this dialogue about, wow, this environmental trigger is literally affecting her entire life right now. And I think a lot of us probably have 1 or 2, or maybe all 3 going on, right?
Yeah. So what's the things you consume the most is air, right? You're breathing 24/7, hopefully. So that's a lot of exposure, and we don't see it. And we tend to think of the food, like we keep taking out the food or worried about the food when it's the air. So the air, the water, we should be drinking, at least 8 glasses, if not more, a day. Half your body weight in ounces is the guideline. More if we're trying to detox. So for sure, that water quality so matters. And if you ever look, if you look in the Environmental Working Group tap water database, you can type in your zip code and it will tell you what is in your water.
Whoa.
And what I want to mention to people is that legal doesn't mean safe. So what might be, allowed in the water isn't necessarily the best for your health, right? Same with our food, right? So knowing that, and knowing if you have mast cell, that we're just more sensitive to that stuff. So I recommend reverse osmosis.
Okay, reverse osmosis. Awesome. And I know we have a bunch of resources. If you guys are unfamiliar with this, you can just go to our website, mastcell360.com. We actually have a really great search bar, and you can just type in any word or phrase. So if you want to define an air filtration device, that would be something that you could take a look at. if clean air is a focus, if you're looking for something related to water or looking for something specific to food, you can do that. Also, you can just send us a social media comment or a direct message. Our team is always here responding and engaging. And so we're happy to say, hey, this is what we recommend. Beth always puts together a list. And I say this every time we have a live show, but I just want to say it again, that everything is vetted personally by Beth. Like nothing crosses the threshold to get on social media or our blog if it has not been vetted by Beth and the team. I know, Kimberly, you're involved with so many of the product testing. We've got some stuff that we've been looking at lately, and not everything passes the test, right? But the ones that do, we love them. And we're not afraid to find something new, something better, but we're also okay to be like, hey, this is the good old faithful one that's been here for a while. Keep using it, So I think that would be really good. One of the things I saw lately that, with the Stanley mugs being such a big trendy thing, have you seen the videos on social media of the mold from the lack of cleaning and how many people have been getting mold toxicity type issues from not cleaning their awesome mugs?
Yeah. I'll say that also happens with your fridge filter. Don't use the fridge filter. The fridge filter doesn't filter much besides chlorine. And you can grow, it's one of the hidden sources of mold, because if there's a leak to it behind the fridge, you don't pull out your fridge very often. Easy to happen, but also you can grow mold in that line. So I don't use mine at all.
So that would be primarily if you've got a water dispensing refrigerator or ice cubes, right?
Right.
So that's a good thing. I know when I travel, I never get ice when I travel. No way.
Yeah.
You just never know. So, okay, that's really, really great feedback. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. So let's kind of, shift gears a little bit. I know that you're not our only team member at the clinic. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about, what it's like working with Mast Cell 360 as a clinic and, the team members you're getting to work with, the other lead practitioners, with Beth, what that's like to be able to be someone to provide true support for our clients that are in our community.
Yeah, I love our model that it's a multi-practitioner models, because you have people looking at from different points of view at your case. So we have people working with a lead practitioner, which is usually like a Beth or an Alex Bingham, who has that training, and then working with myself as well. And then we meet weekly on each case and talk about it, especially if someone's stuck. What are you thinking of this? What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? Just to make sure we're moving people forward. So yeah, to get that level of 360 view of what their issues, and sometimes it's something I see on the lifestyle side, and sometimes it's something Alex might see that's more from his medical background. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great to know that we've got the ability to, again, have that 360-degree view, not just in saying it in a cool title of a name of a company, right? But truly we're providing that approach. And that's a unique component of being able to work with our team. It's awesome. I love that. And I know you also are pretty unique too, I think, in the way that you support those with food sensitivities, just in your own health journey. So I'd love for you to speak to food sensitivities and what does providing support for your clients look like?
So yeah, it's really trying to look at where are they, who is this person, and why are they sensitive? Now, if they're sensitive to everything, that might be more of a nervous system issue, right? If it's everything, if it literally is like you can't onboard anything, supplement anything new, that's your nervous system trying to protect you. If it's more like, oh, we're getting really curious because this person is drinking peppermint tea and having blueberries, and they're reacting then, and they can't handle herbal supplements, I'm like, oh, they might have a salicylate issue. And then we're looking at salicylates, and we're trying to minimize the salicylates temporarily. So that's not a trigger, so they can stabilize. And then, further down the line, be able to back on board them when they're in a little bit better place detox wise. Oxalates, same thing with oxalates, FODMAPs. Is it a gut issue or is it a nervous system issue? And it takes a little bit of teasing out and a lot of questioning and a lot of that person experimenting a little bit, right? Or knowing themselves.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, because it is complex. Like you could be dealing with histamine issues, you could be dealing with salicylates, you could be dealing with FODMAP issues, oxalates, lectins. Like I know for me, I've been like, well, where do I start? How do I know what is what? And so if someone's listening to this right now and they're trying to think this through, would you recommend something like just starting as simple with like a food diary or tracking what's going on? Like what would you say if you were sitting in a session and someone was like, I'm reacting to everything, Kimberly, what do I do next?
I mean, a 3-day food diary is just helpful just to get an idea. But a lot of times if people come in and they're already limited, I'm not wanting to take away more because you don't want that thing you took away to become the new thing you try to introduce. So trying to hold on to as many foods if you have limited foods as you can. Calming that nervous system, reducing the triggers, and slowly onboarding things, right? In a really slow, calm way. So the body is not seeing it as a threat when you're trying to onboard it. So yeah.
That's good. I like
and
that.
then looking at trends, of what kinds of things are they eating that might be histamine? What kinds of things are they eating that's maybe it's just too high oxalate? And then we can also test to see what's going on there. Or is everything sort of so looking for the trends, and the patterns.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I want to ask this question to our community. If you have any questions for Kimberly today that are specific to her work as a functional mast cell coach, I'd love for you to put those in the chat. I'm going to ask her another question to give you some time and allow the chat to catch up. But if you have a specific question, we might take a couple of those today before we land the plane on this live chat. But I wanted to ask, because I know like nervous system rebooting, you just mentioned it. It's a big part of the process you went through. I know what I'm going through currently, that nervous system has been like a massive turning point for me. I use the New Calm app, y'all. I am like, I tell everyone about it. It is my favorite thing. And I just saw they're doing a huge collaboration with Tony Robbins. And I was like, that's it. Like, as if you needed any more information or endorsement, like Tony is the guy. But New Calm's been a big part of my nervous system rebooting process and my healing and my recovery. So I'd love for you to share kind of what you're seeing like across the board with these hundreds of different clients that are coming in with nervous system issues and how you're coaching them through that healing process.
Yeah, it's kind of trying to sort out, is it more of an environmental issue or is it more of a nervous system issue, or which way we can go in first, right? And for me, it was environmental mold. It didn't matter how much Gupta brain calming I did at the time. Did it help? Yeah, it helped in terms of keeping my mindset there and working forward and keeping me calm, because stress can add to the reactions, right? But until I removed that mold environmental piece, I wasn't able to tell a lot of the food reactions. And then I could tell food reactions, and then I could tell, oh, okay, I know I'm out of mold. Why am I still getting a couple of hives? Oh, I was really stressed. So yeah, trying to clear that from my nervous system too. So yeah, doing the nervous system work is important. And then there's others who come in who really, have lost a lot of foods, can onboard supplements, are sensitive to everything. And I would, I really direct them to like really start working on your nervous system piece. Yeah. And it's important to not just do a brain retraining, right? Brain retraining is limbic. You want that vagal piece too, the body piece, and you want both. So I sometimes see people do one or the other, and that can keep them stuck as well. So I wanted to mention that.
Yeah, that's good. And if you're looking to get started in that process, we do have a nervous system course, Kim. I think you can go ahead and paste that in there, paste the link in case they want to take a look at it and see if that's something that's for them, if they're trying to walk through that process of rebooting their nervous system. It's that important key step for stabilization. We all have to start there. Well, maybe not all of us, but most of us, right?
Well, and I ended up there, right? Like I can tell now, like
that's true.
And I'm still doing nervous system. Like I'm doing different levels, even though I've done Gupta, I've done Primal Trust, I've done New Calm, and so I've gathered all these tools. So you're always growing your toolbox and being
I love
really
that.
curious about your nervous system, really getting to know your nervous system, because your nervous system isn't somebody else's nervous system. What triggers you doesn't trigger other people. So really looking at those patterns and getting to know the early signs before it screams, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. That's for sure. And like curbing it as quickly as possible.
Yes.
We've got a couple comments I'd love to share with you. So Matt is watching on YouTube. Thanks, Matt. He said that the best thing he ever did was get an Undersync reverse osmosis system. And he did it about 2 years ago, and he doesn't have to buy distilled water or anything anymore. He said it's worth every cent. So thanks, Matt, for sharing that story. I would agree. That sounds like an incredible
And
investment.
people forget the cooking part. So make sure you're doing it with the cooking. I wasn't doing that at first. It was kind of eye-opening to me because I wasn't thinking
Wow.
about it. You know what I mean? You're like just so used to getting the water. So
Right.
yeah, just making sure you're cooking with it too, because boiling does not get rid of the toxins.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good point. Boiling does not get rid of the toxins. Everybody hear that? Okay. I just want to make sure you heard that one.
They become part of the soup. Yeah.
Right. Catherine just shared this. She's like, I'm new to all of this. I don't know where to start. I'd hope I'd find a practitioner here in Canada. We're sorry, Catherine, that Canada is outside of our scope, unfortunately. But we have so many resources for you here. We hear this question all the time. We get this comment, I guess you could say. So if you were to, I mean, again, we always say check with your practitioner, check with your doctors. But in general, when we hear this question, we normally recommend that you take a look at our nervous system course, right, Kimberly? Or like,
Yeah,
give
that's
it
a
a go.
good place to start. And then I think the mold course is a great place to sort of go to from there, because then you can look at the, goes over the testing, your body and the house. You can get pretty far that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's encouraging to hear. And then Virginia asked this question. She was asking, what is the wait time to get an appointment in the clinic? That is a great question. Let me tell you, Virginia, I feel like that answer does change a lot because we have a lot of people that apply to join. And so it does vary on like how quick you can get into the clinic. It depends on who you want to see when you get into the clinic. Because again, it is, we do have multiple practitioners. So what I would encourage and recommend for you to do is, if this is something that you're interested in now, go ahead and apply. And at the time that you apply and are accepted, they can tell you kind of that wait time. And so just going ahead and getting that application on like process started and done and submitted is a huge step. So just go ahead and do it. And Kimberly, feel free to chime in if you've got some additional thoughts too.
The first clients I originally saw when I first came in, they were waiting 2 or 3 years. Now I see it down. I see people that applied last December.
Yeah, I've seen, I think,
so
even
it's down
months,
to like 3 to 6 months, I want to say right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is great. And I think it's important. One of the things I started asking when I joined this team and was learning more about our services, I was asking like, how long, is this process? And, oh gosh, what is the thing that Beth always says? Slow is fast, right?
Mm-hmm. It's true.
This is a slow is fast approach. That's why it's a very specific method that we're walking through. So it's not something that's going to happen just super quick. We always like to kind of give you that reminder. So if this is something you're looking to do and there is a 2 to 3 year kind of focus that you'd like to intentionally start working through your healing journey, like there's never the perfect time to apply. Like if you're feeling that nudge, it's an opportunity to just go ahead and start that process and fill out the forms. It's not too long of an application. Cam, if you can post the application for those that are interested, we'll make sure that you guys get the link. And again, like if you have any questions, just send us an email. We're happy to provide you some more specific details on timelines and things like that, depending on who you're interested in working with. All right, let's see here. And then I would like to do maybe 1 or 2 questions, and then we're good to go. Sound good, Kimberly?
Sounds good.
All right, Deborah. Hi, Deborah. We always love when you show up and join us live. What was the most helpful for both of us, Primal Trust or Gupta? So I'm going to have you answer first, and then I will go.
So when I originally did Gupta, right? And Gupta is more of a brain retraining program, is more limbic, though I am told that they're incorporating a lot more vagal into it. So I haven't done the new Gupta. So I don't know. It's hard to compare. Primal Trust, I feel, is very encompassing. I do like Primal Trust for clients a lot of the time because it addresses both limbic as well as vagal. And it does get into a little bit of, parts work and trauma, and it has 3 levels. It has some accountability and group support and things like that in there as well. And I think Gupta's building that out. But I do see the biggest difference happening with those really going wholeheartedly into Primal Trust because it's such a comprehensive program.
Yeah, I'll say for me that I am I'm using New Calm consistently. Like I use the deep sleep feature, and then I joke every day I do a New Calm nap in the afternoon when I typically will eat something and I'll see a histamine spike and I feel really tired. And so what I found is I'll do that like 20 to 30-minute New Calm nap, just listening. You put the eye mask on, you lay down, you listen to it, and it has been a game changer for me. It's better than drinking coffee, which I don't drink anymore because of the inflammatory aspects, unless you're drinking purity coffee, which is a whole different ball game. But in my case, I'm coffee free, and that's been a game changer. Now, I have not tried Primal Trust or Gupta yet. I have been hearing about both programs. I would say personally, and especially after speaking with Dr. Kathleen King, even live here on the show, and learning more about her process, her health journey, and everything that she does, I think Primal Trust would probably be personally a better fit for me as a newbie that's just getting started wanting to learn certain things. So, Deborah,
There's
that
so
would
much
be my
education
answer.
there. Yeah, there's just so much
Yeah.
education that she gives about the vagal system and the why behind it. That's a little bit the difference that I see. Most people like that because you want to know the why for why you're doing these extra, like, because it's time consuming and you need to learn and it's changing habits. And so you really want to know that why for why you're doing it, and really, get to know your nervous system. Yeah.
Yep. So we're definitely Team Primal Trust over here. We do love them.
And I love Newcom as well. Newcom is plug and play, just calming. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. We have them. I believe we still have the we have like a free trial. So if you want to try it for 7 days, I think Cam posted that. Just look for it in the comments, just scroll. So let's see here. I would love to finish off with a last question or two. It looks like Dana actually, I think this is a great question, and I'll answer this one, Kimberly. Dana actually asked, like, if you could give a ballpark money figure for those just beginning our program, process testing. One of the things I like to always say is if you have like these types of specific questions, go ahead and email us through our website. Cam, you can put the official support details below. So Dana, you can always email in and we can speak to that as well. Kimberly, do you want to share, like, when you start that process, maybe how you help them prepare mentally, fiscally, et cetera, for
I can share the kind of what I did. I mean, I set
okay,
aside,
I like that. That's
I
good.
established a health budget, right? Because you can do all the tools, right? And all the things. And I needed to set aside an amount of money that to do that I would budget. And that was $1,000 a month. But that was, supplements can eat up a lot of that. So supplements, appointments, tests kind of felt. And then there's, some of the Gupta and things like that. So I would do trade-offs, right? Like sometimes it's like, yeah, I want to do this and this, but maybe right now this is going to help me the most. So I'm going to spend, the $100 a month or whatever it is on Primal Trust and my supplements. And then I have an appointment. Okay, I'm good. But I also, part of my getting better was moving more as I was started to feel better. So I actually did a side business for a while of dog walking because I love dogs, and moving every day was really good for my lymphatic system to get out of the house and away, right? Because we tend to want to stay safe and
Yes.
stay in. And I was getting paid to move. So that was my budget. That's kind of how I earned that extra money to be able to have my health budget.
I
Which
love
is
how
hard to
inventive
justify otherwise.
that is. Yeah, because so many of us are times are tough right now financially. And so it's a very overwhelming, or maybe you're on, maybe a very specific monthly budget. And so you're unable to swing expenses like that. We understand, which is why Beth has made sure that we have so much like free resources for you to start this process on your own and go step by step by step. Read the blog. We even format our blogs in such a way that if you're dealing with brain fog, we want you to be able to easily be able to read it and go through it slow. And, we really have taken just the time and the effort to serve you in the best way we can, no matter what level of the process you're at. And I do want to say, that each person, to again, just answer that question, Dana, it really does vary on how much support someone needs. So someone may be just dealing with one aspect of a chronic illness or a condition. There might be a specific, kind of set of investments that they need to make for costs. And then it might be something for someone else that's maybe complex and they need more supports, more appointments, more supplements. So, just being in, maybe just looking at your own process of where you're at, if you do a little self-evaluation, and when you fill out the application, it does kind of give you some initial numbers as well. So just take a peek at it. And again, if you have any questions, just email us. We're here. We're here to support. We love to do that. Well, awesome. I'd love to finish with just one last question and just ask if you would just take a moment. I'm gonna go full screen so you can just share your thoughts for today. And if you would just pause and give your advice to anyone struggling right now with a similar health challenge to what you have had to go through. Now that you're on, in some ways, the complete other side of it, what would be the wisdom you would give to that Kimberly that many years ago?
Don't lose hope and keep going. Keep going, even if it's just baby steps. Even if it's just baby steps. And don't stop. Like, sometimes I see people get stuck on the one thing. Like, I was stuck with Lyme for a little bit, right? Stuck on killing Lyme. Don't get so stuck or wrapped up in that identity that you can't be open to other things that might be a possibility. And keep that hope, keep searching, keep looking for your team of practitioners that's going to move you forward. Sometimes I see people get stuck with in their mind, like, I either need to be conventional medicine or I need to be natural medicine, and I don't want any meds, but sometimes you need both, right? So creating a team of people who can help move you forward, who are good listeners and who are there for you. But yeah, keep your hope, and if one direction's a no, you don't stop, you turn a different direction. Yeah.
I love that. That's good. If one direction is a stop, you turn another direction. I needed that reminder today. I actually did. So thank you for hope and encouragement. I appreciate that. Well, thank you again for being with us, Kimberly. I know you're going to be joining us later this month. We're going to do a Facebook Live with you, and we're going to do a live Q&A. So you guys are going to be able to submit more of your awesome questions. Keep an eye out on our Facebook page for that post, so you can just comment. I know every time we do this, we get like hundreds of questions. So we're going to do our best to answer as many of those as possible, or I should say Kimberly is going to answer those. I won't be answering any of them. I'm going to leave it to the experts around here, but I'll be helping ask the questions. But we do hope you join us next week. We're going to be right here. It's going to be myself and Dr. Neil Nathan. He is going to be sharing on his brand new book. And we're excited because Beth actually wrote 2 chapters in this new book that is already #1 in the toxicology category on Amazon. It is going to be it's always a delight to have him on our show, but he's going to be speaking about the sensitive patient. He's going to be speaking about mold. He'll be answering your questions as well. So be back here. Join us soon. We will be here on Tuesday at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time for the next Mast Cell 360 live show. And in the meantime, be well. We look forward to seeing you soon. Oh, and check your inboxes, because officially tomorrow is Mold May, and there are some special things coming for Mold May. Right, Kimberly?
Yes, there are.
We're excited. All right, stay tuned, and we look forward to bringing you more mold content throughout the month. All right, have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.